technology and our world with our science. Right here says the Dolly Museum in St. Petersburg, Florida. Okay, so this is an actual museum in St. Petersburg. I wonder how an engineer planned and designed a design for these buildings. How? Turn the page to find out. Okay. Here's how. An engineer drew a plan for the buildings. The plan showed these interesting shapes. Okay. Lesson 1. What is the design process? Engaging your brain. Find the answer to the question in the lesson. How could you keep the dog leashes from getting tangled? Okay, so we're thinking about different ways what we can do to solve problems. Okay, so just like in our science experiments and in the other lessons, scientists think of different ways to solve problems. It's not always happening in a science lab and mixing chemicals or anything together. Sometimes it's as simple as finding easier ways to do things, okay? Engineers are scientists, are a type of scientist, okay? Get real. Look at the engineers at work. Engineers solve problems by using math and science. The answers they find help people. Engineers work in many areas. Some engineers design cars. Some make robots. Others find ways to make the world cleaner and safer. Okay, so find the sentence that tells the meaning of engineers. Draw a line under the sentence. So we see our vocabulary word. It's highlighted, so our vocabulary word is engineers. In which sentence does it say what an engineer is? Exactly. Engineers solve problems by using math and science. A civil engineer plans bridges and roads. A robotics engineer designs robots. An aerospace engineer may work on airplanes or rockets. So there's all different kinds of engineers. Okay, it's pretty awesome. This engineer checks on a building project. The design process. How do engineers solve a problem? They use a design process. A design process is a set of steps that engineers follow to solve a problem. So circle the names of 3 kinds of engineers. Here they are right here. The 3 different kinds of engineers. We have a civil engineer, a robotics engineer, and an aerospace engineer. What is a design process? A design process is a set of steps that engineers follow to solve problems. A tangled mess. Okay, so we're back here, back at the dog situation. When Kate walks her dogs, their leashes always get tangled. She needs to solve this problem. How can a design process help? Number 1, find a problem. Kate's first step is to name her problem. What is wrong? What does she need to do? Then Kate brainstorms ways to solve her problem. Things may happen in order. Write 1 next to what happens first. Write 2 next to what happens next. Over here is the design process steps. Number 1, find a problem. 2, plan and build. 3, test and improve. 4, redesign. And 5, communicate. Okay? Those are the 5 steps of the design process, okay? Circle that. You may need that for answers next, later on. Kate gets out her science notebook. She will keep good records. She will show how she plans and builds the solution to her problem. Problem. My dog's leashes keep tangling. Brainstorm solutions. So brainstorm is thinking about different ideas of what you could do to solve the problem. Draw a way that Kate could solve her problem. So how do you think Kate could solve her problem? Okay, so I'm just going to draw Kate. Okay. She has her dogs. Maybe she has her dogs on one leash and then has it separated into two. This is a dog. Separate leashes. Okay, where it separates. And then maybe they won't get tangled up anymore. But you draw whatever you think can help her. Okay, number 2, plan and build. Next, Kate chooses a solution to try. She makes a plan. She draws and labels her plan. Kate chooses materials that are good for leashes. Look at Kate's materials. What materials would you choose? Okay, so she drew something that similar to what I drew. Okay, so she has a leash and then it separates into one red leash and one blue leash, and this looks like she taped both leashes together. Okay, Kate follows her plan to make her new leash. The new leash may be the solution to her problem. So maybe this might work so her leashes don't get tangled anymore. How does planning help Kate build her new leash? So how does making a plan help Kate build her new leash? Well, her plan is her drawing over here. She labeled it so she knows what to do. So Kate follows her drawing to make her new leash. And that's why it's important to make a plan first. Okay, draw it out, make a plan, and then look at your plan and build it. Step 3. Test and improve. It is time for Kate to find out whether the new leash works. She tests it with when she walks her dogs. Kate will know the leash works if it does not tangle. Okay, so now she's testing it. Okay. Number 4, redesign. Kate thinks of ways to improve her new leash. She writes notes about how to make her design better. Okay, just because you did it one way doesn't mean you can't make it better. Have you ever made something and you're like, oh, I think I can do it better this way? Well, that's the whole design process. Redesign and make it better. Communicate. Kate shows the results of her test. She takes a picture of her design. She also writes about what happened during the test. Ways to make the design better. Make the leash parts or the handle longer. My results. Red and blue parts of the new leash did not tangle. My feet bumped the dogs as I walked. Okay, so she wrote down what happened. She realized that maybe this was too short, so next time she'll make it longer. Okay, and that's how she'll make it better. She took a picture and put it in her notebook. This says circle the part of the results that tells about a problem with the leash. Okay, so the problem with the leash says that the handle might need to be longer, or make the leash parts or the handle longer. Okay. Okay, here's your sum it up. Circle the step of the design process shown here. So what process was this part of? Was it the test and improve, plan and build, or find a problem? Now remember, find a problem was to figure out what she was going to test. Okay? So that was on this page. That was her problem. And then when you see this picture, it's under the number 2 step, plan and build. Always go back in your book and find the answers. And then number 2, write it. Why is it important to keep good records? Okay, why is it important to keep good records on what you do? Okay, so it's important because good records help you keep track of what you do during the design process. That way you don't forget what you just did or what you planned on doing. Okay, they can also help you figure out how to make your design better too. Okay, here's your brain check. Okay, I want you guys to do your brain check. It says match the terms in the box with each clue. So steps that engineers follow to solve a problem. What is that called? You have 4 words up here. Design process, materials, solution, and test. Okay, so I want you to write what you think is up here. The answer to a problem. How you find out whether a solution works. Things you use to make a design. So what is this? And it has the spaces. And I'm going to go ahead and do this with you. That way I know that you did it. And I will probably do a Google Forms with some questions so I know that you did this, okay? I think this is the only way that I'll be able to know that you're doing your science. So steps that engineers follow to solve a problem is what? The design process. And if you notice, there are 1 space per letter. And don't misspell the words, they are right here. The answer to a problem. A solution. The solution is an answer to the problem. How you find out whether a solution works. How do you find out if it works or not? That's right, you have to test it. And things you use to make a design. Materials. Now down here is a puzzle. If you notice, there's numbers up here. Well, you put whatever letter is on that number down here. So solve the riddle. Write the numbered letters in order on the lines below. I am a scientist who uses math and science to solve problems. Who am I? Number 1 is E. Number 2 is N. 3, G. 4, I, 5, N, 6, E, 7, E, and 8, R. Who am I? An engineer. On the back, complete the flowchart with the steps of the design process. The title is Design Process, and we have 5 steps. Well, we circled something back here that has the design process steps, or you could also go to each number. 1, find a problem. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Problem. Number 2, plan and build. Number 3, test and improve. Number 4, redesign. And number 5, communicate. All right, and I'm going to be making a Google Forms brain check that looks kind of similar to this one. Okay, so if you watch this video, you'll be able to do the Google Forms after you watch the video. All right, have a good day.